video, we're going to answer the question about how many questions you need to get right to pass the MPRE. So the first thing that I want to point out is that, unfortunately, the National Conference of Bar Examiners, and again, those are the people who not only draft but also administer the MPRE, they have not, nor do they provide us with any sort of hard and fast data as it relates to answering this specific question. How many questions do you have to get right to pass the MPRE? So to be totally honest, it's impossible to tell you the exact number of questions that you have to get right to pass in your jurisdiction. And the other thing that I want to point out is that while we have information that I think is very helpful and is revealing, it's also true that this exam is scaled each administration. So that means the numbers, even if we did have them, could change a little bit each exam. So let's talk about what we do know, because the information that we have, like I said, is still helpful, even though it's not exact, or it would be impossible for me to give you those exact numbers. So according to an article that was written back in 2011 by the NCBE, they told us that to earn the score of a 100 on this exam, you would need to get 34 questions correct out of 50. Or if you were taking a 60-question exam, you would want to get 41 questions out of 60 correct. This would be about a 68%. If you were shooting for that score of an 85, this means that you would be getting 30 correct out of 50, or again, if you were taking a 60-question exam, you would be shooting for a 36 out of 60, or approximately a 60%. If you're in a jurisdiction that requires the score of an 80, so if that is your ultimate goal, you would be shooting for 29 correct out of 50, or 35 correct out of 60, which is approximately a 58%. Finally, if you're shooting for that score of a 75, you want to get 28 correct out of 50 or 34 correct out of 60, which is approximately going to be 56% correct. So as I noted, these numbers can vary a little bit, of course, from administration to administration based upon the scaling of your exam. The other thing I want to point out is that you'll notice that at a 56 to 60% correct, 2 questions can make the difference between the score of a 75 and an 85. So this tells us that you might have to fight quite hard to get that score that you want, because 1 or 2 questions here can make a really big difference between being, of course, passing and not. So our final piece of advice for you is, again, use this information as guidelines to help guide you with your studying. But generally speaking, if you're scoring between about 30 to 35 correct on your practice exams, you're likely to be in the passing range. And our final tip is always be sure to check your state-specific passing score. Remember, each state can set their own passing score for the MPRE, and you want to make sure that you are aiming for and you are prepared to get the score that your jurisdiction requires of you. If you're looking for some free MPRE resources, be sure to check out our free course. You'll get questions, an outline, and of course, our one-pager. Best of luck on the upcoming exam.